Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Hoot. We are really getting to a good part here. So, in our chapter, and we are in chapter 17, about in the middle, we are probably at a really good point for Roy. He's not getting bullied on the bus. Beatrice is having some problems, but Dana Matherson is not an issue anymore. So now we're just worried about the owls. The police captain was reading the arrest report when Officer Delinko and the sergeant came in. The captain motioned for both men to sit down. Nice work, he told Officer Delinko. You made my life a whole lot easier. I just got off the horn with Councilman Grandy, and he is one happy camper. I'm glad, sir, Officer Delinko said. What do you make of this Matherson kid? What has he told you? Not much. The interrogation of Dana Matherson hadn't gone as smoothly as Officer Delinko had hoped. In the training films, the suspect always caved and confessed to their crimes. However, Dana had remained stubbornly uncooperative, and his statements were confusing. At first, he said he was snooping around the Mother Paula's property in order to heist a load of Gladiator cigarettes. However, after speaking with a lawyer, the boy changed his story. He claimed he had actually gone to the trailer to bum a cigarette, but the foreman mistook him for a burglar and came after him with a gun. Matherson's a hard case, Officer Delinko told the captain. Yeah, the sergeant said. He's been around the block a few times. The captain nodded. I saw his rap sheet. But here's what bothers me. The kid's a thief, not a practical joker. I can't picture him dumping alligators in porta potties. Stealing porta potties, maybe. I wondered about that, too, Officer Delinko said. The Mother Paula's vandal had displayed a dark sense of humor that didn't fit the Matherson boy's dim-witted criminal history. He seemed more likely to strip the wheels from a patrol car than to paint the windshield black, or hang his shirt like a pennant from the antenna. What's his motive for the funny stuff? The captain wondered aloud. I asked him if he had a gripe against Mother Paula's pancakes, Officer Delinko said, and he did say IHOPs were better. That's it? He likes IHOP pancakes better? Except for the buttermilks, Officer Delinko reported. He had very nice things to say about Mother Paula's buttermilks. Gruffly, the sergeant interjected. The kid's jerking our chain is all. The captain pushed back slowly from his desk. He could feel another crusher of a headache coming on. Okay, I'm making a command decision here, he said. Considering we've got nothing better to work with, I intend to tell Chief Deacon that the Mother Paula's vandal has been apprehended. Case closed. Officer Delinko cleared his throat. Sir, I found a piece of a shirt at the crime scene, a shirt that's way too small to fit the Matherson boy. He didn't mention that the remainder of the shirt had been tied tauntingly to the antenna of his squad car. We need more than a rag, the captain grunted. We need a warm body. And the only one we've got is sitting in juvenile detention, so officially, he's our perpetrator. Do you understand? Officer Delinko and his sergeant agreed in unison. I'm going out on a limb here, so you need to know what this means, the captain said. If another crime happens on that property, I'm going to look like a complete bozo. And if I end up looking like a bozo, certain people around here are going to spend the rest of their careers cleaning dimes out of parking meters. Am I making myself clear? Again, Officer Delinko and his sergeant said yes. Excellent, said the captain. So your mission, basically, is to make sure there's no more surprises between now and the Mother Paula's groundbreaking ceremony on Wednesday. No sweat. The sergeant rose to his feet. Can we tell David the good news? The sooner the better, the captain said. Officer Delinko, you are back on the road, effective immediately. In addition, the sergeant has written a letter commending the outstanding job you did capturing our suspect. This will become part of your permanent file. Officer Delinko was beaming. Thank you, sir. There's more. Because of your experience on the case, I'm assigning you to a special patrol of the Mother Paula's construction site. 12 hours on, 12 hours off, beginning tonight at dusk. Do you think you're up for that? Absolutely, Captain. Then go home and take a nap, the captain advised, because if you doze off there again, I will be writing a much shorter letter in your file, a termination letter. Outside the captain's desk, Officer Delinko's sergeant gave him a hearty slap on the back. 2 nights and we're home free, David. Are you psyched? One question, sir. Will I be on duty out there alone? Well, we're hurting on the night shift right now, the sergeant told him. Kirby got stung by a yellow jacket and Miller's out with a sinus infection. Looks like you'll be riding solo. That's okay, Officer Delinko said, though he would have preferred to have a partner under the circumstances. Curly probably wouldn't be staying at the trailer, though he wasn't the best company anyway. You drink coffee, David? Yes, sir. Good. Drink twice as much as usual, the sergeant said. I don't expect anything to happen, but you better be wide awake if it does. On the way home, Officer Delinko stopped at a souvenir store along the main highway, and then he swung by the Juvenile Detention Center to take one last crack at Dana Matherson. It would be such a relief if the boy admitted to even one of the earlier vandalisms. Dana was brought to the interview room by a uniformed guard who took a position outside the door. The kid was dressed in a rumpled gray jumpsuit with the word inmate stenciled in capital letters across the back. He wore only socks because his toes were still swollen from the rat traps. Officer Delinko offered him a stick of gum, which the kid crammed into his cheeks. "So, young man, you've had some time to think." "About what?" Dana blew a bubble and popped it. "You know, your situation." "I don't need to think," the boy said. "That's how come I got a lawyer." Officer Delinko leaned forward. "Forget the lawyers, okay? I'll put in a good word with the judge if you just help me clear up some of the other cases. Are you the one who painted the windows of my patrol car?" The boy snorted. "Why would I do a dumb thing like that?" "Come on, Dana. I can make things easier for you. Just tell me the truth." "I got a better idea," the boy said. "Why don't you just kiss my butt?" Officer Delinko folded his arms. "See, that's exactly the sort of disrespect for authority that got you here in the first place." "No, man, I will tell you what got me here in the first place. That little dork, Roy Eberhardt, is what got me here in the first place." "Not this again," Officer Delinko said, rising. "Obviously, we're wasting our time." Dana Matherson sneered. "Duh." He pointed to the small shopping bag that the patrolman had placed on the table. "You finally bring me some smokes?" "Nope, but I got you something else." Officer Delinko reached into the bag. "A little buddy to keep you company," he said, casually dropping it in the boy's lap. Dana Matherson howled and bucked and tried to knock it away, toppling his chair in panic. He leapt from the floor and scrambled out the door where the guard clamped a hand on his shoulder and led him off. Officer Delinko was left alone to ponder the object lying on the linoleum tile. Toothy, scaly, and pretty lifelike, except for the $3.95 price sticker glued to its nose. It was a rubber alligator, which Officer Delinko had purchased at a tourist stop. Dana Matherson's reaction to the harmless toy convinced the patrolman that there's no way he could possibly be the Mother Paula's vandal. Anyone so freaked out by a puny fake wasn't capable of handling a real alligator, especially in the forbidding darkness of a traveling Johnny. The true culprit was still out there somewhere, dreaming up a new scheme. Officer Delinko had 2 very long, nervous nights ahead of him. The Eberhards owned a home computer, which Roy was allowed to use for homework assignments and for playing video snowboard games. He was good at browsing the internet, so with no difficulty he was able to Google up plenty of information about a burrowing owl. For instance, the type found in Florida went by the Latin name of Athene colicaria floridata and had darker feathers than the western variety. It was a shy little bird, and like other owls, was most active after dark. Nesting usually occurred between February and July, but fledglings had been observed in dens as late as October. Systematically, Roy scrolled down the search items one by one until he hit the jackpot. He printed 2 single-spaced pages, zippering them in his backpack and hopping on his bicycle. It was a quick ride to the Coconut Cove City Hall. Roy locked his bike, followed the signs to the building's zoning department. Behind the counter stood a pale, freckled-faced man with a pinched-looking shoulder, and when the man failed to take notice of him, Roy boldly stepped forward and requested the file from Mother Paula's All-American Pancake House. The clerk seemed amused. "Do you have a legal description?" "Of what?" "Of the property." "Sure. It's on the corner of East Oriole and Woodbury." The clerk said, "That is not a legal description. It is barely even a proper address." "Sorry, but it's all that I've got." "Is this for a school project?" the clerk asked. "Why not?" mused Roy. "Yeah," he said. "We're going to stop there."